Welcome to the Dork Forest. Jackie and her pals will never bore us. Shameless confessions
about our obsession
will make us laugh and smile. So let's explore the Dork Forest and dork out for a while.
Hello and welcome to the Dork Forest. My name is Jackie Kashian. We are live in Portland, PDX, Bridgetown, Stumptown, place with a million lawnmowers. Hi guys. Welcome. This is respectable. Let me just say, Rumble, doing the audio, live, Rumble. Let's have a nice round of applause for Rumble. Patrick Brady, of course, going to fix the audio in post. And Mike Rickberg, Sarah Cohen just sang that song you heard. And we're going to play the Mexican hat dance at the end of it, but not here. Get a ringtone. They're free. They're free. But sitting with me is local dork luminary from Portland, Carrie Brownstein. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Yeah. We're in Portland, and you're on a show called Portlandia, right?
That's true. But I still dispute the luminary part, but I will concur on the dork part.
On the dork part? You're willing to own the dorkdom?
Yeah. Are you going to tell everyone where you ate today?
Oh my God. It was called Statler Brothers or something. What was it called? Stockdale?
I think you ate at Stanford's on accident.
Stanford's, out in Lake Oswego. I have not planned well to come to your fair city, which is full of wonderful places to eat, and instead, I went over to Fred Meyer, got myself a chicken thigh. That's what I had for dinner. I'm planning on eating at midnight. Again, somewhere hipstery. I'm hoping the bearded youth will be there. Because after this, I'm doing a live stand-up show as well, which should be super fun. You guys going to stay for that? Anybody? All right, you should. You got more Portland comics and stuff. And I was going to tell you, when I had that chicken, I almost had a Portlandia-like moment where I got the hairy eyeball from some woman where she was like, "You're having chicken." And I was like, "Yeah, it's a grocery store. They sell it. It's not my fault. I'm willing to eat meat." And it was a weird moment.
I can't explain that because people are really into meat here.
Yeah, people like meat. Isn't there a restaurant called Lardo?
Yes, it's excellent. You should go there later.
Is it open late?
I don't know. Is it?
I don't know. You're going to a fancy cello thing after that. You want to tell them what that is?
Portland Cello Project. Well, you guys should stay here for Jackie's set.
Right.
But the Portland Cello Project is playing at Doug Fir. And do you guys know what the Portland Cello Project is? Yeah.
Oh, some people do.
So they're doing 2 nights of dance music. You know, they have a bunch of different singers, and I won't be dancing, but people in Portland dance in that
and it's like
way.
Is it a quartet? Or is it like a room full of cellists? I want there to be like 40 cellists.
There's not. I mean, there's 4. It might be a quintet. I don't know if it's a quartet or quintet, but they are joined by multiple, various singers. They have Keytar,
which is a hipster. It's a ancient, beautiful.
It predates.
What is it?
It predates hipster. It's just a guitar.
It's a guitar
keyboard guitar combo.
But it's not the one you blow in.
No.
What's that called? The blow-in piano.
Melodica. Is that what it is? Melodica? Yeah, it's melodica.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's this. It's just so that somebody can play keyboards and dance.
Oh, I get it. Okay. Yeah, guitar. I'm in. Music is my life. I'm so sorry. You were in a great band called Sleater Kinney, too, that people love. Yay, let's clap for them. That's a good one. Right? And I was going to tell you that I had sort of, because a lot of people were like,
you're like Sleater Kinney, done. Cross that off.
Cross that off. I've asked that question. I've pointed that out. And but I asked on Twitter and on Facebook for questions for you, and a lot of people were like, "Ask her if there's anything you couldn't pickle. Ask her if there's anything you wouldn't put a bird on." And I was like, "No, we've all seen the episodes. We know that. Is there anything that you wouldn't pickle or put a bird on?"
I mean, I've never pickled anything in my life.
Not even refrigerator pickles?
No, but I'm not personally pickling them.
Okay.
I like pickles. I do not like vinegar, though, so that's
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, but I am separate from the people I play on the show.
Oh, right, because that is a fictional character.
Mostly,
many fictional characters.
Yeah.
I lived in Minneapolis for many years. There was a friend of mine who came to where I worked, my old day job, at a hippie t-shirt poster shop, but it was Northern Sun Merchandising, if you ever make it to Minneapolis. But she came in, Sally Ann Farrar, crying because she had been told by an African-American woman that she couldn't be in their drum circle because she wasn't black. And black people invented drums. And I was like, let us find this black woman and let me punch her in the throat and tell her she can't play the trumpet. I was like, it felt like a very kind of Portlandia-like moment. Everyone gets to play the fucking drums, in my opinion.
But no one should play in a drum circle. That's just...
Fair enough. Touche. Amateur drum circle, not as...
I also want to say this is not a tattoo. Do you guys all got this too, right? Okay, good.
Yeah. To get into the room, I was the only one that didn't... I made friends with the door people. I was like, all right, I'm not going to...
No one that's listening knows what I'm talking about, but we all
it's
are
a man,
sporting a
right?
very giant
person,
businessman on in our arm.
Why is it a business one?
Oh, it's Elvis. I just consider him a businessman.
All right, so I asked you what you might be a dork about, and you said two things that I'm more interested in talking about, and you were like, but I'm mostly enthusiastic about this other thing. But so let's talk about the things I want to talk about first.
In case your podcast.
In case it is my podcast, and I'm very excited about it, because you said post-World War I British literature.
I did, yeah.
So what is that, what era are we talking about?
Well, World War I was 1914 and 1918.
True.
Although America...
1917, 1918.
That's right. A lot of people don't know that.
Sure. Too much info. Not enough math.
But you know it. In the Victorian era of literature, there was a lot of, telling stories from the outside. Like here's the setting, here's the setup. And then, of course, after World War I, things got critical and there was existential crises and people wanted to know about the interior lives of the characters.
Oh.
And it was kind of considered from I don't know if it was Hemingway or Gertrude Stein, but it was, kind of the lost generation. And it was about these, there's all these books that are kind of about this fatherless time. Like there's all these people that are kind of like wandering out in the world.
So like Great Gatsby,
but I love like Evelyn Waugh and Somerset Maugham, and later in post World War II, Graham Greene.
Okay,
I mean Virginia Woolf and the Bloomsbury Group was happening during this time.
Right. I think I've never read the first two. I've heard of them. Sure I have. And because post World War I to me, Tolkien.
Okay.
Lord of the Rings. That's when he was writing. It started in World War I. He kept writing. And then I brought you a couple of books. Vanessa, who listens to The Dork Forest, gave me these in Austin, Texas. And they are by a guy named Nicholas Blake, who happens to be Daniel Day-Lewis's dad. Daniel Dad Lewis. That joke belongs to Mike Kaplan. He came up with it. Nicholas Blake, Daniel Day-Lewis's dad, whose name I can't remember, was the poet laureate for the UK from 1958 to 1972. And these are essentially Agatha Christie novels from the late 20s. He did them to make rent. They're Nigel Strangeways mysteries. And in the first one, which I believe is this one, A Question of Proof, he spends the first third of the book making fun of the fact that he has to write this book. And then he introduces Nigel Strangeways into it, and so they're light, but they're very interesting. And they are not literature. They're pulp. They're pulp. Yeah, but if you might enjoy them, that is a trinket that you may take with you.
Thank you.
I've cleared it with Vanessa as well.
No, it's awesome. But wait, you said it's Daniel Day-Lewis's dad, but you don't know his name, but isn't this his name right here?
It is not. This is his nom de plume.
His nom de plume.
Nicholas
His sobriquet.
Blake.
That's a good synonym for nom de plume is sobriquet. Just FYI.
There's a synonym for the nom de plume. The well-plumed. I enjoy that a great deal.
Pseudonym, sobriquet, nom de plume.
Right.
Okay.
And then parallelogram. Sure. But this one was actually, I think, printed in 1979. So I got shoes older than this. Actually, I don't. Anyway, but they're from the late 20s and early 30s.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Super fun. So, I just tried to reread The Sun Also Rises, which, I have a problem with, I love Hemingway can be exciting and great, but he's also, I have a hard time with some literature where it's all this sad sack, get to the point. Like chop with the plot already.
But do you feel like Tolkien is chop to the plot?
Ooh, an excellent point. You can skim the poems the first time. That's what I'm just saying. You skim the poems the first time, and then you read them just when you're alone later. When you reread them.
It took him like 8 books to tell one story.
It's a really good story.
It is a good story. I don't know if I've read anything but Lord of the Rings by him.
Oh, you didn't read The Hobbit?
I've only read The Hobbit.
Oh, okay. And The Hobbit is more of a children's book than The Lord of the Rings. The Hobbit is, it takes a very dark turn at the end, of course, but we don't have to discuss The Hobbit. It's fine. But have you read a lot of Hemingway?
I haven't read a lot of Hemingway because I mostly prefer, I have read The Sun Also Rises, For Whom the Bell Tolls, and Old Man and the Sea.
That's it.
That's it for Hemingway.
That's 2 more than I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've read most of Somerset Maugham. Oh, I get kind of completist, totally in a separate realm of literature. Most of James Baldwin or Virginia Woolf.
Okay.
Those guys are good. Have you read them?
I have been recommended to read James Baldwin almost every year. I have a friend of mine who's like,
that's a surefire way that you'll never read anything.
I know it. I've been given books. Like it's almost, when I give somebody a book, I'm like, no, read it, don't read it, light it on fire, fuck it, I don't care. But
there's a contrarian urge, I think, that develops when you keep hearing, read this person. It took me a long time to read Dave Eggers because everybody said, read Dave Eggers. And then I did, and I thought he was amazing.
Right.
And,
what's your favorite Somerset Maugham book?
Probably Painted Veil or Vile Bodies. Yes.
Okay.
No.
So you've read all of them, so you're like...
No, you know which one I haven't...
What should I start with?
Start with Of Human Bondage.
Of Human Bondage?
That's the one that everyone reads. That's like...
It sounds cheerful.
Philip Carrie, that's the protagonist in Of Human Bondage, am I right? And he has like a club foot, and he goes and he's an orphan, and it's epic.
Is it Oliver Twist meets the Elephant Man? What the hell is it? Give me a Hollywood pitch.
Okay, well, first of all, it's a kind of a romantic. He keeps falling in love with kind of there's kind of this sad character.
Okay,
that he sort of keeps people. Okay, Somerset Maugham. Okay, I'm going to go to another story that I think you'll relate to more.
Better.
Here's a plot-heavy one. Painted Veil. This woman marries this man that she doesn't love. They go to a foreign country. She has an affair with another man.
Right. I don't approve.
There's a murder plot.
And then there's a murder plot.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds exciting enough for me to read.
Have you guys read that one? No. Okay.
All right. Have you guys read any Somerset Maugham? See, I am not alone. But we all want to be better people, and that is one of those books that we should. Those are authors
no one cares. No one cares about these books. No one cares about.
But Virginia Woolf she's sad sack too, right? they're
okay. The Waves. Don't start with the Waves, but the Waves. The Waves has this beautiful quote where she's like, "When we sit together close, we melt into each other's phrases.
Yep.
We form an unsubstantial territory." It's beautiful. It's all these characters that it's just like this. It's very stream of consciousness.
See, I don't mind stream of consciousness, and I don't mind sort of an exploration of our minds. Sun Also Rises. I just wanted him to everyone he met, I wanted him to go, touch it. Just touch my crotch and see if it works again. Because that's the Hemingway book where his penis doesn't work because he had a hard war. But, that's what it is. That's what the plot is. But, it's all this internal journey about why his penis doesn't work. And that's post-World War I. Because before that, it was the sad stack books that I genuinely dislike were like Wuthering Heights, which was like 1870, where I was like, fucking date her. Don't not date. Don't spend 30 years working on revenge, right? It just seems, I get mad, is what I'm saying. The Scarlet Letter, I wanted that woman to move.
But don't you think revenge,
go out into the woods. Make friends with the Indians. Die of exposure. Get away from those people. They're toxic, man.
But how can you not appreciate revenge as a trope in anything?
Oh, yes. I think I've spent most of my life trying not to get revenge.
Okay.
So, I mean, I always want my heroes to be better people than me. So whenever it's an examination of something that I could see myself doing that kind of thing, where you're like, oh, that seems mature. Why don't you get it together, Jackie? Because I'm always I put myself in the situation. You know, did you ever read Conan? Not Conan O'Brien, Conan the Barbarian.
No, I haven't.
Okay. It's a classic. It was written right around then as well.
You know what I feel like? One thing that I read in junior high that reminds me of that title, Conan the Barbarian, but was very different, was Clan of the Cave Bear.
Oh, yeah.
Which is very tawdry. It's disgusting. I just remember the word, her mound.
Oh, yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that really traumatizes you for life.
Oh, it's burned into your...
Also, V.C. Andrews, totally traumatizing. That was available in my elementary school, like 6th grade, and I didn't just stop with Flowers in the Attic. It goes. There's 2 more stories after that.
Right.
Like A Thorn in Your Side, or...
Is there a slick fold being discussed?
Ooh, a slick fold?
Yeah, that's how vaginas are usually described in romance novels.
Wait, slick or slit?
Slick.
That is really foul.
Yeah. It's super, super moist. And you're like, you can't unread some shit. You just what I'm saying.
You just dropped the moist bomb on us.
She had a moist mound, I bet.
That's like the grossest sentence in the English language.
It's not a good one.
But have you read V.C. Andrews?
I have seen the name, but I have not. What did V.C. Andrews write?
Flowers in the Attic. Did you guys?
Algernon?
No, not Flowers for... It's just like Flowers for Algernon.
Wait, are there developmentally disabled people doing it? Yes, there are.
It's a story about a mother, a horrible, horrible mother who locks her children in an attic. I think because she's trying to get an inheritance, and she won't get them if she has children. So she keeps them in the attic, and she slowly poisons them with arsenic. But there's 4 kids, and the 2 older kids end up having a relationship. So it's a story of incest. Then if you read the subsequent books, they end up, I think the younger son dies of arsenic poisoning, but the daughter, whose name is Carrie, survives. You know how when you're a kid and you hear anything with your name, you're like, I love that sexist song about a 30-year-old lusting after a 15-year-old. That's my name. I totally relate to that.
I wanted to wear a pillbox hat.
Yeah. Like there's this Joni Mitchell song, Carrie. It's like, he's a mean old daddy, but I like you, or whatever. I'm like, I love this song as a kid, and just danced around to it. So anyway, there was something about, I think, Flowers in the Attic having this character, even though they were going through horrible abuse.
Right.
But it's a very popular book, and it
is that, and I've seen that name in every airport in the world, V.C. Andrews.
I feel like it's not available in airports anymore.
Maybe it might have been banned from airports.
I would be embarrassed to be reading a V.C. Andrews book on a plane.
But people read that 50 Shades of beating each other up while they have sex. Isn't it all about bondage and whatnot?
I haven't read 50 Shades.
And I have read a great deal of crap, my friends. I am not above the crap rating.
Okay, so 50 Shades of Grey is fan fiction from Twilight, right?
Right. That's how it started. And now it is its own 50 Shades of interminableness, because there's like 6 titles, I believe. I'm pretty sure that there's 50 Shades of various colors.
And there's going to be a movie.
And it's going to be a movie. Yeah. Why wouldn't it be? Let me tell you something. My drum circle plot, nothing. The fact that I wanted to do a movie with me and Wanda Sykes where we both work at Target, Sure. I get no love from that. Bank robbers smash in at closing time, and we foil them using Home Alone tactics and plastic items from.
I can see how there's an intersection between sci-fi and drum circles. Like I can see that that's part of a plot. Like moving the plot forward is just a group of people.
Sure, if you go far enough into the future, you're in the past. It's Cloud Atlas, man. Here's the other thing. Sociolinguistics. I mean, there's many things on this list. She has a list of dorkdoms. You're a diamond. You're a multifaceted dork of many colors, like Joseph in his coat. But what is sociolinguistics?
Sociolinguistics is the study of the relationship between language and society. Which
makes sense.
You know, if you're something that I'm interested in is discourse analysis. And I've studied a lot of computer-mediated discourse and the way we interact with people as it's, mediated through technological devices.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so essentially is why and how people interact, like back in the forum days up to Twitter and all on to just emails and...
Yeah, and I think the main tenet of sociolinguistics is that it's descriptivist instead of prescriptivist. You know, a lot of... linguists. Sorry.
No, I need those two words defined.
Okay.
It's what.
Well, so prescriptivism is how people should speak.
Okay.
So you have the grammarians who, are worried about, begging the question, being, people say like, oh, that begs the question, meaning like that conjures the question, but actually that's it's a rhetorical, the people that really get into the nitty gritty of things.
Right.
Or like,
and that's called
Yeah. So if you say, well, we shouldn't say, a lot of slang and things that come into our language, people push...
When people use the word literally wrong.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
And people have really gotten lax about that. I feel a little torn with literally, because it does bug me a little bit when people say, like, I literally died, and you just think, if you're saying that, you didn't. But so that's, to many extremes, prescriptivism is just somebody that's saying, well, you should speak like this is the proper way. But of course, language is so elastic. And, we wouldn't be speaking the way we are today or have, poetry or the kind of colorfulness of language if we didn't allow for that elasticity.
Right.
So with sociolinguistics, a lot of it is, it's descriptive. It's how people speak. It's not trying to determine what people should say, but let's actually look at the ways people are saying. Let's look at code switching, which is the ways that we use different registers. So you might, with your comedian friends or your sci-fi friends, speak in a certain way, and then you speak to your parents in another way. Or if you know Spanish and English, you're code switching between these different registers. So this stuff is just fascinating to me. And
are there books that do you read as a hobby, sort of? Are there people that you follow on Twitter? Are there books that you've read? Are there things that is there a web comic that you check every day? I don't know.
Well, you can read, this is pretty dry stuff. You can read Foucault or you can read Pierre Bourdieu. He has this great book called, Language and Symbolic Power, which, and
I'll put it in the notes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, he has this great thing about the linguistic marketplace, that the way we speak, there's a currency in our language, and certain kinds of, communications have more value than others.
Yeah.
He's pretty interesting. Just a real, pop, culture guy, is Steven Pinker is a real accessible guy that you can read. Language Instinct is a great starting point for sociolinguistics. But it's fascinating. I mean, if you use, any technology or, just communicating with your friends, I feel like sociolinguistics is a completely palatable, very relatable subject to be interested in. And now I really sound like a dork talking about this.
Own it.
I've really, we were let's talk about World War I lit, and I just named some authors that I like, but now I just am melting and I want to get under the table. Yeah, I would say, Jeffrey Number, Steven Pinker, check out those guys.
Because the way
Chomsky, but he's less of a sociolinguist. But there's a lot of accessible stuff out there that I find really interesting. Deborah Tannen, William Laboff.
And are they talking about the evolution of the language or the evolution of the ways we communicate?
the ways we communicate. So that's the socio part. I mean, obviously there's plenty of facets of,
like going from
linguistics.
letter writing to telephone calls. Am I getting it right or no?
Yeah. So that would specifically be a little more into discourse analysis and, looking at the ways that the form has led dictates, I guess, the language or how, orality, has an influence on the written word.
Okay. Yeah, because if it's spoken, it's going to be much more casual than if you have to write it out longhand. Mm-hmm. And then if you're texting, you're just using the letter U.
Right.
So, okay, I get that.
And certainly the ways that we communicate via text message and on Twitter has affected the way that we write, and it's become highly casual.
Right. Somebody actually said the words out loud to me, I have feels.
Wow. Yeah, really, it kind of mimics this sort of short attention span that we've all come to rely on, where, we sort of appreciate this brevity.
Yeah.
And I think that we've always appreciated brevity, but now there is this sense of like a human bandwidth, and you kind of you feel like, well, that's full. I have so much going on that if people are truncating their words, it's almost like you're grateful for the little amount of time they're taking up in your life, which is sad.
That is. It tightens up. It's like if you could just tighten up that sentence and say it again, that'd be great. That seems like such a bossy fucking thing. Anyway, so, yeah. Well, that does sound fascinating because, I just had a guy on Kurt Brownohler. Kurt Brownohler, a very funny guy. But his thing is psychogeography. And what he likes to do is he likes to take somebody blindfolded into some weird part of New York City and 10 people as a group. And then you have to find your way back and you can't use your phone and you can't bring a map with you. You have to figure out where the hell you are. And he'll stick them in the middle of the Bronx or in I guess there's a park in Brooklyn that you can't see anything from.
So wait, psychogeography is just a euphemism for kidnapping.
Right. It seems to be really rude, but everyone commits to it. And then with the it might be socio. Really, Jackie? Anyway, so, but I think it was psycho because it was like where the natural leadership comes in because somebody has to be in charge, right? There has to be a leader who goes, we're all going to go over this hill and we're going to look to see what we can see. And so it's all interested about community and all this the way that we interact in a weird, stressful situation that is artificially created. And you could bail on it at any time, but if you commit to the game, it's essentially like a LARP. It's a live action role playing game where you're just all 10 of you have put out somewhere. And he's trying to do it in Los Angeles, but it's hard with the car, because then you have to drive someone far away and there's no public transport that doesn't take 3 hours to get back to wherever you might want to be.
Yeah.
That's a good story.
No, it is a good story. It sounds scary, but I trust Kurt, so I'm just going to...
Right. Well, that's it. I mean, it's a trust game for sure because you have to trust that Kurt isn't going to bring you into the bad part of the Bronx at twilight and then hand you a gun with no orange tip. So, or whatever. I mean, he's not going to set you up so that all of a sudden you are beaten to death. Now, you did give me, okay, so I like the idea that you like dogs. I'm a dog person myself.
You are? Do you have any dogs?
No, I've always wanted a dog. I used to walk the dogs in the neighborhood. I wanted my parents hate animals, and I wanted the dog so bad that, and this is true, and I do it as a joke, but it's a true thing, is that I told my parents that I wanted to be blind so that I could have a dog when I was 9 years old, and my stepmother burst out laughing and said, we still wouldn't get you a dog. We get you a stick. You could name the stick. She actually said that because she's very funny and genuinely mean. But so what I would do is I would offer to walk all the dogs in the neighborhood, and people were psyched. Yeah, they were like, thank God, take them, go. And so I used to walk Misty and Pepper, and they were perfectly nice dogs. A lab and a mutt, a little wiry kind of terrier mutt, Pepper. It's great. Have you always had dogs?
I had a dog growing up named Buffy. My mom named her, she was buff colored. My mom was very creative.
Literal.
Very literal. But I have two dogs now. Toby and Cricket. But I have to say, the dog affection is, it's a kind of a complicated thing because I get very annoyed at dog people. I mean, I did some, after Slater-Kinney broke up, so we played our last show in Portland in August, and then I immediately jumped into intensive volunteering at the Oregon Humane Society.
You said that's how you dealt with your grieving.
It is. It's how I dealt with my grieving, by just cleaning up dog shit in kennels and taking them on walks. And then I also started training dogs at a private facility here. I was the assistant trainer and at the Oregon Humane Society. And I logged in so many hours that I got Volunteer of the Year, and just, it was very intense. So I feel like I'm a little bit inured to just that kind of like dog fanaticism. Like when people get really crazy about their dogs, I'm just like, yeah, they're just animals. But
right.
I am.
But you also want to hug them a lot.
Dogs don't like being hugged.
Dogs don't like being hugged.
Most dogs. I mean, a lot of people would send us at the Humane Society, like they'd adopt this dog, and then they would send us pictures of their kids hugging the dog, and their dog's eyes would be like popping out, and just sending us like a message that was like, please bring me back to the shelter. But not every dog. Some dogs are fine being hugged.
Some dogs are fine being hugged, and some dogs don't like to be hugged. Is that the deal?
Like humans.
People?
Yeah,
like some people don't want to. I'm not particularly.
I was thinking, you know how on the East Coast, you do the kiss instead of, and it's very West Coast. Maybe you're from the Midwest. Is it also Midwestern to do the hug?
No.
Okay, because I realize that actually a hug is more intimate than that, because you're just pressing your whole body up against somebody with a hug. And I've started to realize, like spending more time on the East Coast, that there is something a little more informal about just sort of that
French kind of peck.
That kiss. It's because you're not touching anything and you're not pressing your body. So I feel like maybe it's weird.
There's a lot of hugging in Los Angeles. There's a great deal of hugging.
And also that weird thing where you hug someone that you just met. Like, hi, nice to meet you, and a hug. I think that's overstepping.
Right. I always tell people, like when I see somebody that I've met for the third time, it's usually the third time when I'm like, we can hug it out. And then, if they're with their husband or wife, I'm like, gotta meet you a couple more times. We're just gonna shake hands. And, cause I have, social skill problems, and, I say everything that's why I have a podcast. Because I'm just with the brit. I'll just say it. And, cause it's not that I'm not, affectionate and I'm not happy to see people, but, okay, so my husband, Andy, his dad, dog trainer, trained bird dogs for field trials from horseback.
I have a bird dog.
You have a bird dog?
Yeah.
Which one? Toby or Cricket?
Toby's a German wire-haired pointer mix.
Okay.
And during my more fanatical stages with him, I did start researching, like, even though I don't shoot guns, how could I get him to be could I just rent him out as like a gun dog? Turns out he's horribly afraid of loud noises.
But does he point just naturally?
He points. It's beautiful. Yeah, he points.
That's neat. Cause, he was such a mellow dude until anybody did anything to dogs. He was he got very, very angry.
Yeah, I have a disproportionate amount of tears shed over any animal torture, or that movie with Paul Walker called 8 Below.
What is that?
It's the worst movie, but my friend and their kid took me to this film.
Yeah.
And it was just like, do you want to come to see this film? Because, it's like, I thought it was just going to be a kid's film, but it's about Alaska sled dogs. But with Paul Walker. But he was crying in the film. I was crying. There's just a lot of...
Are the sled dogs... Is there trouble?
Yeah. Of course there's trouble. It's a movie. Right.
But no dogs were harmed in the filming of the movie.
I mean, I'm assuming they weren't.
Right.
No. I wasn't crying because they were being... I just, tragedy struck. I can't just think
Spoiler alert.
Yep. Spoiler alert. Most of them live.
Okay. Well, did you see Homeward Bound?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'll tell you something. When that Irish setter, when they thought that, I was sobbing. And my 4-year-old niece comes up to me and pats me. She's like, it'll be okay. And that just made me cry harder. And, cause she had seen it clearly, cause she was 4, dozens of times. Cause she was a toddler. And that's what toddlers do. They watch the same movie over and over. They don't show Old Yeller or Sounder anymore. Nobody's showing their kids those films anymore.
I don't know if I saw Sounder. I saw Milo and Otis.
Right, but Sounder and old... Look at what is the two of you. Is Milo... I never saw Milo. Is that with Michael J. Fox? And
I don't think
who does the voice of...
There's really no... Oh, is the voice? He's the voice, Michael J. Fox?
Yeah, I think I saw that. It was a buddy movie, but dogs, right?
A dog and a cat.
Oh, a dog and a cat.
Yeah.
I've only seen
or
parts of it.
Or did you see this thing on the internet where there was this cat that, I think his name was Wasabi-chan?
No.
And it was, a kitten that had been attacked by a crow. And so it had to have a feeding tube. And the owner was like, oh no, the cat's going to claw at the feeding tube, but it's very crucial that it gets all its nutrients. So she knitted at these little like mushroom hats. And so the paws were all contained in it. And I mean, clearly she didn't need to knit it into the shape of a mushroom. Or
it was like a kitten onesie?
Yes, it's very cute. I highly recommend just a little internet stroll.
Oh, yeah.
I know people listening to this podcast will be like, the literature thing boring, the sociolinguistics thing boring, and then they'll be like, Wasabi-chan kittens.
Because what we've done is we've gone the gamut. Everyone they like to know about like the dry nonfiction they can read, right? And they like to know about the literature that they can read, and now they get to know about a YouTube video that's adorable, right? I mean, who doesn't want to go watch a cat on a thing getting in a onesie? I do. I'll watch all animal videos. They all get 1 million hits.
Yes.
Except for my animal video, which is just about how you should put your cat down. Anyway,
do you hate cats?
I don't hate cats. We have many, many feral cats in our neighborhood because 2 houses down from us, there's a woman who likes to be called Cat. Her name is Kathy. I remember when we first moved in, she allowed us to call her Kathy, and now it's just Cat. And she has a cat, and then there are feral cats, and then she very sadly, got breast cancer about 2 years ago, and didn't get some kittens fixed. And now there are at least 7 cats at any given time. Andy and her, when she is in remission, well done, Cat. But she, her and Andy caught like 12 cats and took them to Fix Nation and got them fixed, and then re-released them into our yard, and they use our garden as a cat box.
That's too bad.
It is, but they're very cute. They're good looking. And Andy has named them all. There's Jet, there's Skulk, there's Lurk, or whatever. I don't know. He's named, one has half a white spot on his face, and he calls him Mustafa Half-Stash. And the only one that they have yet to catch is the tomcat that keeps impregnating the loose fucking cats. And I call him I Papa K. Rico.
And you said that you don't like revenge stories.
I don't want to read what I like is my theory is that I am not the hero. I would like to read someone who's a better person than me, is what I tend to, more than anything. Are you cat people too? Do you also like cats?
I'm okay with cats, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm allergic to cats. I don't mind them.
I don't like the litter situation is untenable. I mean,
but you got to pick up dog poop, and that's okay.
Yeah, but it's not in your house.
It's true, and it doesn't stink.
There's something about just, no matter where you put the litter box, like you can put it in a far-flung, like, basement corner, and the cat will still bring the litter back upstairs and sprinkle it across your floor, and then you can never be barefoot. It's just a constant exfoliation of the pads of your feet.
It's like a sand trap.
And then it's in your bed. It's just, it's really gross.
Yeah, it isn't good.
And then they try to sell litter that's like not that clay litter. They sell like cedar chips and corn.
Oh, right. Corn?
Just like a corn litter. And that's just grosser because then you're just associating like a food smell with a shit smell.
You are correct. That is foul. I've never...
Yeah, so no. I mean, I think cats are...
They're very pretty.
They're very pretty.
They're very pretty.
They're cute.
And what I like about the half a dozen feral cats in our neighborhood is that they don't want to be pet. Yeah. But they're fine with hanging around. We got a string and a piece of wood. They're constantly lurking. Andy put up a bird feeder, which I think is just cruel.
Yeah.
Because there's a bird feeder, and then they just all hang out underneath the bird feeder, looking at the birds.
I also think it's interesting that cats are the only pets. Like, people will love their cat, but still call them an asshole. And I think that's kind of cool for cats.
Right.
They're owning that.
They get to be moody. Because if you had a jackass of a dog, wouldn't you get rid of him?
Potentially, yeah.
Yep. Because dogs can be... Like, I have a friend of mine who has a pit bull, and she's a very big advocate for pit bulls, right? And her pit bull is the sweetest dog in the world. But that dog has been tortured. I mean, you can see all kinds of scars on this dog, and I almost burst into tears when I saw the damn dog. But his name is Angel, and he is very, very sweet. But he has been tortured, and so you think about dogs that have been tortured, he could snap, conceivably, right? Because people can, you torture a person, you gotta deal with some, and it's a dog. I'm sorry, it is not a person. It cannot process, we have an iguana. We have a 16-year-old iguana named Tiberius. He's not mine. I didn't get him. It's not my
But he didn't just show up there.
Right, Andy got him. Andy got him when he was little, very tiny, because somebody at his work at Sony PlayStation bought 3 iguanas on impulse. And then day 2 was like, I can't have these. And so Andy took one, some other guy took one, and that guy kept his. And the other 2 guys killed their iguanas within 2 months. And Andy has had his iguana for 15, 16 years now.
Congratulations.
Yes, and they live to be about 1 million. So we are in for the duration with the iguana. But they have tiny lizard minds, right? So when I have him out in the garden, because he's out in the backyard, out of his kennel, padding around, hiding among the squash. And, but he'll lurk. He's like a cat in the fact that he wants to be wherever you are. I assume it's because he's cold-blooded and I have heat. I don't know why. Though Andy insists that it's because he's nice and he likes to be around people. And, but only one time did he get aggro at me, and he kind of charged. And, but he's a very slow lizard, so it was a very deliberate charge. I had much warning. And I had a shovel in my hand.
Was it like a 3-hour event?
It was like watching Speed 2, where someone is running at you with a knife for an hour and a half. And so, but what I did was I took the shovel and I put it in front of my foot. And so when Tiberius got to the shovel, he looked at the shovel and he was like, well, thank God she's gone. And he just moved the hell on, right? And so, but then I moved the shovel and I went over and I was working in a different part of the garden, and he did it twice. And I'm like, we're done now, you and I. I'm not going to let you chase me around my own backyard. So I put him back in his kennel. And, but he did bite Andy one time, but they don't really have teeth. They have 2 rows of cartilage. And so what he did was he grabbed his hand and then turned his head, which is how they rip leaves and stuff. So Andy had like a row of cut hand. It was not cool. I would have gotten rid of the iguana at that point, but
he's attached.
He's attached. They're on board. I don't know why this story happened. You got anything?
I'm fascinated. I mean, I don't know anyone that owns a pet iguana.
No, okay. Yeah, I knew a guy in college who had like a snake that you had to feed rats to.
But is your husband a trench coat wearer?
He wants to be. He genuinely wants to be.
I can see that now. Those like long black coat,
You know when I met him? Uh-huh. He had a wizard beard.
Yeah, okay. It's making more sense now.
And there are pictures of him with all one length, full down to the middle of his back hair.
Did he braid that beard?
It was all twisty and weird.
Yes, okay.
And
if you had said that, I would have asked if he had a pet reptile, but...
Yeah. Danielle Koenig, Jimmy Pardo's wife, she said, who are you dating? And I said, Andy, he used to, when we met, he had a wizard beard. She was like, deal breaker. And then I said, and he has an iguana. She was like, total deal breaker. Why are you with him? But here's the thing. The first time he kissed me, he said, is my beard scratchy? And I said, it's your face. You get to have a beard if you want. And then the next time, he had shaved off his beard.
That's like beyond scratchy. That's just like an apron or some kind of like creature down there.
It was a little pointy. It was more of a goatee with a point. You when you first meet somebody, you see them and you're like, they look weird. And then by the third time you meet them, you're like, that's what that guy looks like. And it doesn't matter anymore what they look like because you're like, that's what that person looks like. And it turns out he's much better looking than I've ever needed.
What does that mean?
I don't even know what that means. But I mean,
like he has excess of handsomeness.
He's more handsome.
I don't need all this handsome part.
He could have been much less better looking and I would have still been involved because sometimes I see pictures of him and I'm like, good Lord, you're very handsome. I mean,
that's a good feeling though.
It is. I mean, it's a win. It's a positive,
It's a win. I'm
going to interview you now. What the heck?
No, I like that. I feel more comfortable asking you questions.
It's another origin story. I tend to weed off. I think it's why Greg Proops does the podcast by himself. But I do want, Portlandia starts shooting again next week, right?
We start pre-production.
So not even.
Yeah.
So, and you live here, right? Here in Portland.
I do, yeah.
Do you have chickens?
No.
Okay. That's one of my stereotypes. That's what I think of when people live here.
A lot of my neighbors have chickens that I can hear. And my neighbors also have a wind chime that I recently described as aggressive.
Andy has two moms, and they have a wind chime collection.
That's completely aggressive. It's very disturbing. People don't realize that it's often atonal, and it is kind of free jazz.
Right. Do you get free eggs from your neighbors with the chickens? You ever get eggs?
No, I
think if you had chickens, you should give neighbors eggs.
Yeah, there is one neighbor that has like a little sign, and I don't bother with.
You don't want to be.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I don't really eat a lot of eggs. That's why
fair enough.
It's not because I'm thinking like, they're not being generous or they're weird. No. They're very nice and they have built beautiful little.
They're good people,
hutches.
But chickens stink.
No, that's for a rabbit. Cages.
No,
chicken coops.
Coops.
There's so many different animals like rabbits. They have hutches, right? Okay.
Do they have rabbits?
No, rabbits are weird. Rabbits, I feel like you just get one and it goes into a wall and you never see it again. Like it doesn't want to be around people, I don't think.
Right, but people raise rabbits for meat.
Yes, I visited a farm once where people were raising rabbits for meat and they had that little, it's like a little funnel where they put the rabbit down and
that little guillotine moment. Yeah.
No, I don't have chickens.
No, but rabbit's pretty good though. All right, I'm over here.
I'm making myself sound like I'm a vegetarian. Like, I don't eat eggs. No. I really like eggs. I just don't cook anything.
And you're pro lardo, right?
I'm pro lardo.
You pro that. What other restaurants do you? What is there a restaurant I should definitely go to? Are there a couple of them?
Well, are you staying in Lake Oswego?
Yeah, but I'm not going to stay there.
Okay.
I got to get out of there.
Because I don't know any restaurants out there. But if you're...
I'll tell you what's out there. There's a Denny's, there's an Applebee's, and if I were a deer in search of a salt lick, I would go to either one of those, or the Olive Garden.
Olive Garden, yeah. I kind of miss the Olive Garden. I went to college in a small town, and I remember Olive Garden and Red Robin both being really exciting for the bottomless features.
Right.
Fries, salad...
Yeah. Everything's bottomless at Olive Garden. But have you tried to eat at a Red Lobster recently?
No.
Because everything tastes the same.
Yeah,
it's all being cooked in the same water.
Ooh. Yeah. Okay.
That'll create some silence. Hi, guys.
Okay, I'll suggest some restaurants to you. Okay, Screen Door is quite good. See, I feel like you'll wait a long time at Screen Door, but it's
But what if I get there right when they open?
If you get there a half hour for breakfast, if you get there literally, I'm not even joking, 30 or 40 minutes before they open. So
people are lined up.
Yeah.
I don't care enough about any food for that. Okay. There's a place in Austin, Texas called Franklin's Barbecue.
I know.
That everyone was like, you gotta go, but you gotta wait in line for about 45 minutes to an hour. And I'm like, stop talking. We're done. We're done talking. I'll go have a sandwich somewhere else. And it's not that I don't like barbecue. I mean, I don't think I'm not a stand in line kind of person.
Yeah. Okay.
Because there's gotta be a nice,
you could just go to the carts down on 13th.
I've been to those carts, but I'm anti-cart. Because I like to sit down like a lapsed Christian and have someone come into my table and...
Okay, I'll tell you two places that are good that don't have as much of a wait. Okay. One is on Killingsworth, and it's called Podnah's, Podnah''.
Oh.
And it's amazing. I feel I'm mad at myself for even saying this. We should probably cut it out of the podcast, but you can go there and not wait, and they serve an amazing brunch.
Sure.
Also, there's a place called Small Wares, which is on Fremont, and you can also go there and not eat. I mean, not eat. Don't eat there.
Don't eat there.
Absolutely
just
don't
show
eat there.
up.
You can go there and not wait.
It's like LA. Just go there and they'll take away the food before you get it.
Yeah. But you do kind of have to seek out little places in Portland that aren't going to be jam-packed. Because I think that there's no restaurant that's worth waiting an hour. Like, I'm very angry at that point.
Right. Do I have to eat before I go out to eat?
Yes.
Because then I have low blood sugar and then I get grumpy. Nobody wants Grumpy Magoo fucking sitting at their thing. Anyway, but the Mike Ridberg...
I like the term Grumpy Magoo.
Sure. I want to write a series of children's books about the Magoos. Chatty Magoo, Grumpy Magoo.
Wasn't there also already Mr. Magoo?
Mr. Magoo he is not the patriarch of the Magoo clan.
Okay. There might be a copyright issue.
With the Magoos?
Potentially. I
don't think, since I'm a huge procrastinator, I don't think I'll be writing or drawing a children's book. So, what I can do is I can just talk about that and the Wanda Sykes project I'm also not pitching. Anyway, so, anything else? Oh yeah, I got a novel. Anyway, so, so are you still writing music? What are you doing?
Yeah,
musically.
Right now, I'm mainly working on Portlandia. We're writing, but yeah, I am working on some music.
I love it when you sing in Portlandia. It's always fun when there's a musical interlude.
Thanks.
That's all you had to say. Well played.
Okay.
And then, so are you writing? What are you doing? Music? What would you like to do? Do you still practice?
Yeah, I play guitar pretty often.
Is it something you do to kind of chill out a little bit, or is it practice?
No, well, it's both. Kind of to chill out. I don't meditate, so in order to sort of get into a place that feels kind of lucid, I either hike or I play guitar. Because in both situations, you can kind of zone out. Like and when I go hiking, I don't bring my phone, which might sound, it's not dangerous. I don't know. I think if you grow up in the Pacific Northwest, you don't have a fear of the woods. Like the people
Did you grow up here?
I grew up outside Seattle. So yeah, I've lived in the Northwest my whole life. So, people come here and, the woods are very scary to them the same way that people that grow up outside cities find like that urban environment more frightening. But I have no problem, being out in nature. And I didn't have a cell phone, when I was 20,
when you were growing.
When I was growing, yeah. But it's more, not for, it's just to disconnect a little bit from the, checking my text messages. You know how like it's a muscle memory with your phone now where just every couple minutes you're almost doing this like loop. It's like I don't have my phone on me right now, but if I did, I would just be like a security blanket, just reaching just to see if it's there. And then once you pick it up, there is that little loop that you do. So it's like you first see that you have a text message. And then even if you've just looked at your email 5 seconds before you email, Twitter, and then you're in that little cycle
and then
again.
15 to 17 minutes have gone by. That's why I appreciate you not bringing your phone out, quite honestly, to the, in front of the live audience.
Oh, do people do that?
People have. Oh yes. I'm not gonna.
That seems rude. I will say that seems rude. Unless I was gonna be using it as reference, like, I wanted to show you something, but
I'm gonna show you this cat video that's amazing.
That would have been annoying. I don't even have it in my pocket.
Yeah, when I go for a walk and do you hike up something or are you just walking?
Both.
Okay. I don't enjoy an incline. I don't mean to. reveal too much about my sedentary lifestyle.
I enjoy an incline and a decline.
And a decline, okay.
No, I'm fine.
When you grew up, was it uphill both ways when you grew up?
No, I'm a generation after that.
Oh, fair enough, fair enough.
No, I mean there's logic to my childhood. I don't.
Yes.
My stories of woe and childhood hardship have nothing to do with uphill both ways. That's such an outdated. Isn't that seems like such an outdated way of describing your walk to school? Also maddening. That is such a fallacy. Like that's impossible.
Right. It is not. It's
unless your family unless you went to school and your family moved while you're at school. Further uphill.
Do you know that my family moved when I was in kindergarten and my sister was in second grade? We moved during the day, and my brother Scott, who was in I believe fourth grade, was supposed to get her and take her to the new house, and he forgot because he was 9, right? So my sister, who was 6, walked to our old house, and we had moved. It was genuinely like a caricature of a moment with your therapist. And don't think she doesn't milk it.
Oh, that's full on abandonment.
It's full on some abandonment issues.
Someone just groaned. You've been abandoned. I'm sorry. I get it. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it in a negative way. Abandonment is wonderful. That was great of your family.
No, it's nice. You know what it does? It's self-reliance. It creates self-reliance. She was the only 9-year-old who would look at the real estate section. For real. You know, like at the grocery store when those grainy newsprint pictures of houses, she would look at them and go, I'd like to live there. And I'm like, are we living with you? No. Just me in my own home. And Anyway, yep, I weeded us off again, didn't I? So you are on Twitter, of course. You're on the Twitter, and it's Carrie_Rachel. Mm-hmm. And so people should follow you on Twitter. People should watch Portlandia, and people should follow you around when you're playing your guitar. What is your favorite guitar? Let's leave them on that, because you said you had some favorite. There was definitely a favorite guitar.
I have a 1972 Gibson SG that is my current favorite. Although it's kind of my perennial favorite. It's the one I go back to. Although it's one of my only guitars now that doesn't have a vibrato bar, which I've become kind of accustomed to using. But the playability is very apparent. The action is very nice. The frets are smooth. I've been playing a lot of Rickenbackers. They tend to have almost kind of a sticky, like tackiness to the neck. And I find that the playing can be kind of more terse and angular, but there's a nice smoothness to the SGs that I have, and specifically that one, that if I'm just playing alone in my house, is very conducive to just kind of getting into, just kind of a moment.
And
if I'm trying to, practice things or work on, technique or anything, that's the guitar that I go back to, and it has a nice tone.
So it came out in 1972. It's like a classic guitar.
It's a classic guitar.
Gibson's still making guitars, correct?
They are.
Thank you. All right. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just.
But it's because why would I know? I don't know. But so the new ones. Is that something they're known for? Is that sort of smoothness in the frets, or?
Well, the SG I find, okay, so Gibson I would say is most known for the Les Paul, which is this very heavy guitar.
Physically heavy?
Yes, physically very, very heavy. So the SG is a lighter guitar, and it has like two, almost like horn. It has these things. You've probably seen it.
Oh, yeah. Because I've played Guitar Hero. Yeah. So it's that one. Okay.
So then you know how to play, and you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I mean, but wait, do they have that as an option?
They do have that that guitar is, I mean, they have the classic rock and roll guitar, and they also have that triangle one.
The triangle one, like the flying V?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So, I find out of all the Gibsons, that is one that is more playable. The other ones are very heavy, and I'm not.
You have to be strong, right? I mean, because you have that thing.
I'm strong. It's hard. I mean, for years when I would tour, I would go to these, massage therapists and acupuncture people that were just like, oh, I can tell, they work with people that are like working at their desk all day and playing guitar, you just get that kind of curved. It's very, it's not,
because the strap
healthy.
is holding most of it, but even when I have a backpack on,
Yes.
it's just heavy. So you would want a lighter. It's like, in other news, it's been an hour. How are you doing, Carrie Brownstein?
I'm good. I like how esoteric this conversation was. I hope.
Did you guys enjoy how esoteric this conversation was? You all listen to the show, right? Okay, so you know what the hell's happening. You know that it meanders and that it talks about just stuff we love. It's dork on dork dialogue. And I'm one of the dorks. So you've chosen wisely listening to the Dork Forest. And thank you so much. Vilmos, of course, fixes the website. And Mike Rickberg's going to sing the Mexican hat dance. And thank you, Carrie Brownstein, for being on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
And you guys take care of each other out there. Good night. And by the way, I have T-shirts and CDs if you want them. I have, if you didn't get a Dork Forest magnet, you can have a Dork Forest magnet. I also brought some green Dork Forest mana. If you want me to sign a Magic the Gathering mana card. I don't know. That's weird that someone asked me to do. Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot, you guys.
My hat, my hat, my hat. They're dancing around my hat. My hat, my hat, my hat. Well, what do you think of that? If it looks like a Mexican hat dance and it sounds like a Mexican hat dance, it's most likely a Mexican hat dance. So take off your hat and let's dance.
Yay! Oh my God. Why don't we just call that as the end of the show?